Hello, everyone. Welcome to the SavvyCast. This is Jamie, and I'm so grateful to all of you who are joining, whether watching on YouTube or listening to the podcast. I have got two very beautiful women inside and out who are my guests today, and I could not be more thrilled to welcome to the SavvyCast Nancy Bynon and Katherine Tortorici. They are going to share a very special friendship that took a turn, and they're going to share. The friendship is still even stronger than ever, but friendships can take turns. Theirs did, but they made the most of it, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So, Nancy and Katherine, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jamie.
Okay, well, I love seeing y'all's faces, and everyone on YouTube can see how lovely y'all are. And I just want to start with the icebreaker question that everyone answers, and that is, what would you choose as your last meal?
Okay, I'll go first. Well, I had to think about that one. I would say I would love to sit in front of a dessert bar and have every kind of dessert. Let them go down the line. I'll try everything and not have to stop. That's where I would go first.
Okay, so you're a dessert girl. May I ask what your favorite dessert is, since you are a connoisseur?
Something I would not normally eat would be a carrot cake with the cream cheese icing. The thicker the better.
That's hard to beat. That's hard to beat. Okay, Katherine, what about you?
I have to say Dimitri's Barbecue in Homewood, Alabama has the best grilled chicken sandwich with a coleslaw topping on inside the sandwich. And it is fantastic. It's not something I can eat every day, but on special occasions, I love it.
Well, at least the chicken and the slaw. I mean, that, you know what? I am probably going to try that because I'm in Homewood a lot. And for those who may not know, Homewood is a suburb of Birmingham, and it's just right here next to me. And why don't we start there as far as the demographics, where y'all met and just where you grew up and the beginning?
Go ahead, Katherine. We have two different stories. Go ahead, Katherine.
Nancy and I lived in Birmingham. I still live in Birmingham. I grew up here. I raised my family here. And then I joined the Junior League of Birmingham. And I love the cookbook area. I sold cookbooks. And then when it was time to make a new cookbook, I raised my hand, and Nancy joined in and said, yeah, I want to come help. And so that's kind of how Nancy and our friendship began, was right here in Birmingham. But Nancy has a different story. Nancy, what's your story?
That's okay. And it does go back to 2006, so a very long time. She was asked to do the cookbook. I begged to help. So anyway, and I lived in Birmingham for many years and moved to Houston, Texas 12 years ago. So I'm in Houston now, but still through just like this, staying connected with all my friends in Birmingham.
So, well, first of all, I do have to give a shout out to both of you. Anyone who had a part in any of the Birmingham Junior League cookbooks, my hat is off to you. No better cookbooks anywhere. And I've got both of them, the tables of content and what's the other?
Food for thought.
Food for thought. They're awesome. But anyway, okay. Well, I just want you all to start. And why don't we just start with you, Nancy, and just tell us how long you were friends and everything was just rolling like most of us in our day-to-day life. And then your friendship took a very unique and interesting twist.
Correct. We've been friends probably 18 years, always stayed in touch, being out of the state from each other, but always stayed in touch. And then 2019, within a week of each other, we developed breast cancer through a routine mammogram. And so it was a very hard phone call to make to Katherine. And then she said, I'm waiting on my results a week later. Well, and I think that day before I left Mountain Brook, she called and said, I have cancer too. So we had breast cancer, two different types, but we were both estrogen positive.
Okay, so can you, because there may be many listening who are walking a similar battle, can you tell us what types that you had? That because breast
No,
cancer is not the same.
she's got a good analogy. I'm going to let her show you.
Oh, okay. Because in a separate conversation, you shed some light on some things I didn't understand. Breast cancer is not just breast cancer; it can have many different forms. So, Catherine, you got a call that said you had breast cancer. So, how do y'all's differentiate from each other?
Really, it's in location where the cancer is located. You know, just like a thumbprint, everybody has their own particular thumbprint. Well, everybody has their own particular diagnosis. Nobody is alike. There's so many different kinds. You can be similar, but the treatment might be different. You know, it's just our bodies are going to be different from each other. But the thing that caught my attention was where it is. And if you think about a flower, the stem is the duct. And so a lot of people have ductal carcinoma.
And is the duct, let me just clarify, that is a duct in a breast where the milk, is it for milk? So even though when you get older, you're not lactating, that duct stays there and it can, okay.
Right. And then my location was in the flower. Mine was in the lobular area is what that's called. And that's where the milk flows. And so that was my location. And then Nancy's was here. And like she said, we were both estrogen positive. So the first thing that they did was they cut off our estrogen, which in the normal world, if our bodies are cut off from estrogen, it screams. And so it was a new beginning for us.
So if someone gets breast cancer and it is estrogen positive, in a simple term, what does that mean?
Yeah, they look at estrogen, progesterone, and your HER2, which is your female hormone, and then they can determine if it's estrogen positive. Then they end up doing a lumpectomy and either radiation, and then some people have to go to chemo. It just all depends on the test that they run on you, and then some people can be triple negative, and that's not necessarily knowing where the tumor is coming from.
So estrogen positive means estrogen feeds, is that a proper term? It feeds the tumor. That's why it has to be cut.
And we all still make estrogen, even when we've gone through menopause. We all still make estrogen.
So both of you got cut off immediately. What is there one drug that does that for every? Is it like Lupron? I did infertility, so I know some of these drugs. Are there many different drugs that cut off your estrogen?
It's almost like when you are trying not to get pregnant and you're on the pill. It's like that. You've got to go to different sources to find out what works with your system, what works with your body.
This one still cuts off the estrogen, but there's many kinds because one may not work for your body, like Katherine was mentioning. And so I got on another one because some can cause inflammation and some, just like the birth can cause nausea. So there's, as they were told me, sister drugs, but all in the same family as anti-estrogen.
Okay.
But Jamie, this is where our conversations, when Nancy and I would call each other from Birmingham to Houston, how we learned. This is how we figured out this new information that we were trying to absorb, because neither one of us had had cancer in our family. And we'd had friends, but we weren't educated. And so you have to give yourself some room to grow and learn in this new information.
And ask and be your own advocate. That's the most important thing, is asking.
So the fact that you, as two friends who already had a very consistent and open form of communication, regular communication, and you were walking through this at the same time, you were able to bounce everything off of each other, and it made you a better patient and a better advocate for each other. And wow. Okay. Well, I do want to ask you this, because any woman who's near or pre or perimenopause knows estrogen, when it's not harmful, is a very good thing. I mean, we want it when we're running out because we have hot flashes or whatever. So what is it like when they stop your estrogen? How does that affect you? And I guess it could be different. Katherine, how was it for you?
You see it every day on commercials or on Instagram. They always talk about what it's like without estrogen. But my biggest thing was the pain that you have in your hands, brain fog, sleepless nights, sweats. I mean, it was just constant. But then you learn how to, like our book, we have strategies of how to overcome those things. One of my favorite things that I've just learned to do is my hands hurt so bad, but I can take modeling clay and roll it around, and it's like a natural massage on my hands. And so
Wow.
we've learned just in our conversations, massage, acupuncture. When you go get a mani pedi, go tell them to massage your legs a little bit longer. I mean, it's so fun talking back to each other to find these things out, to
Wow.
learn the strategies behind the symptoms.
Well, that is so interesting. And Nancy, is there any kind of medicine they can give you to counteract the effects of taking away your estrogen? Or is it pretty much you've got to push through?
There are some other things in that they can give, but it's kind of like this. I had to take one, then take something else to make that feel better. So we have noticed if you watch certain things in your diet, sugar can make it worse. Alcohol can make it worse. Because if you're already dry and you get dehydrated, so it's just everything's in moderation and a balanced diet. And we know that helps. Sometimes when I know I'm going to have that dessert bar, I'm going to feel it the next morning.
Wow.
Exactly.
Wow. Okay, well, we have talked about you both get diagnosed, you're both immediately put on this drug that is helping you cancer wise, but it's pretty gruesome as far as the symptoms. How did you all navigate that? And then what happened that led you to coming here to share what you all are doing that I think is fabulous?
Well, it was our conversations, and that's what we need with our community, with our friends, to talk and to learn from each other. And Nancy and I learned a lot from each other, and we learned the strategies, learned how to overcome fear. When you hear the word cancer, you're in shock. You are like, this happens to other people, not to me. But having us go through this together, two by two, it was so precious that we could lean on each other when we needed it. We could cry to each other. And that's what we also need with our community of friends. The reason we came up with the book is because after our treatment, now we're still going through our medicine treatment, and when that's over, we'll be doing herkies and shouting from the mountains. But we were receiving phone calls all of the time. And Nancy and I thought, what we learned was so important. We need to share this with other people. And we knew with the Junior League Cookbook, we had the skills. We were trained. We knew what to do. We just needed to apply that and take it further so more and more people would know about how to overcome fear, how to overcome the strategies behind navigating the road of cancer.
Nancy, can you speak to that? Because that
Yeah,
friendship
absolutely. Right.
seems such a gift in this situation. So, what were your takeaways
Well,
from that?
the same time when she called and she would be down, and then I would try to give her encouragement because I might have a good day or anything. That's the whole thing we would hope with the book, that it would inspire people, encourage them, and to let them know they're not alone and that there is hope. There's hope at the end. So that's the whole thing with our conversation, our relationships, and friendships, that it would inspire people and hopefully give them support information that they need.
Well, I love the title of the book, Two by Two, and the book cover is absolutely beautiful. It's a book that I would want to put out. And the two by two just reminds me of the verse, I believe it's Ecclesiastes 4, 9 through 12. For if two lie down together, and let's see, one falls down, there's someone to pick him up, but woe to the one who there's no one there to pick up. That was in my wedding, 35 years ago, so I need to refresh my memory. But even though our spouses, if we have spouses, and we have loving spouses, they want to be there. There is something to me, I would think, but I want y'all to speak to this, having a woman to share certain things with, that a man, as much as he might want to help, might not be able to speak to that like a woman could, that has that loves you and is walking alongside you.
Well, that's
Katherine
one
is
of the things that we did with the book is that we wrote it because someone will have cancer. Someone will know somebody who has cancer, and someone will be related to that person with cancer. So this book kind of educates the family, educates the friends. We even have what to say and what not to say to someone who has cancer because we all need education.
That's good.
I just think, we just need to be there and be ready when we're in that position of hearing the word cancer, whether it's yourself or a friend or relative.
And also, Nancy, don't you all have a recipe at the end of each chapter? And the recipes are things that might appeal to and be healthy for someone, maybe having the treatment, not feeling their best.
Absolutely, or something that you can just pack up in a little box and take to them. And we tried to make, well, everything is healthy. We took out sugar if we needed to and put in maple syrup. There's all the variations that you can do when you make a recipe. So that's what we did. And after each chapter, to make a healthy recipe that you can share with someone or have yourself.
Right, right. Well, I love that part. And then, Katherine, aren't there portions where if you're sitting in a waiting room or you've just got time alone where you can journal the thoughts that you're struggling with or that you have as you're walking through this and you're in your quiet time?
Mm-hmm. My sister gave me a book that looked like a phone book. It overwhelms me. So
Mm-hmm.
Nancy and I were really thorough in what kind of book we wanted, the size, dimensions, and everything. In the book, there is a journal portion because Nancy and I were really thorough about taking notes about what we heard, what we wanted to question, and things like that because you do forget when stress comes up. So we have things in the book, key notes, key takeaways to help you remember what you just read. We have key scripture. We have a key devotion. We have, and so the key is kind of the important part that we want you to remember when you read each chapter.
Well, I'm so glad that y'all agreed to come on because I love sharing things that are inspiring, practical, and helpful. And this is all of that. And it makes a perfect gift. This is not just a holiday gift. This is a gift that literally everyone watching or listening knows someone they can give this to. So on that note, would you tell us how you can get 2 by 2 the book to share with someone you love that is walking through cancer?
Okay, it's available now. You can pre-order Amazon.com, and you can go to Barnes and Noble and pre-order. And then we do in October have some events coming up at Leaf and Petal, at home. Trust me.
We will have it at Ryan Reeve in Cahaba Heights, October 12th from 10 to 11:30. We will be there signing books. October 17th, we will be at home in Homewood.
Oh, one of my favorite places. Can I share that? Okay, I just see that I have a list in my phone. I'm going to share this in the show notes. But everyone, if you're driving or listening, go to the show notes because it starts October 11th and then goes through the 19th. That's what you have so far. But will you possibly be adding more?
Yes.
Okay. Now I will tell you, these are some. I'm in at home all the time. Leaf and Petal. Oh my goodness, these are fabulous places that you can go and shop and then buy a book. And definitely, I want a signed copy. But ladies, before I let you all go, I just want you to share, and I'll start with you, Katherine. How has having cancer? How are you different now?
I am more focused on the things that matter. My relationship with others and my relationship with the Lord is the only 2 things that matter to me. Everything else filters in. Cooking dinner for somebody, that's how I love others. Sitting down and being still and reading my Bible and having my devotion every day is how my relationship with the Lord grows. And just like cutting sugar from my diet, cutting other things from my diet that I know will fight with me, having those two important things in my life is it's just meant so much to me now.
Nancy?
I totally agree with Catherine. And then I could just say that it just, I have the opportunity of being in Houston, and a lot of people come to MD Anderson, and I get to hopefully pick them up at the airport or go with them to an appointment, and just being there for somebody going through it. Because at this point, I did that a lot, and now I can truly understand how they're feeling. And I can only imagine the fear because I live here. So I'm used to it. But to come in and not know anybody, and the hospital's huge, and where to go and what to do. So I love being that advocate for them.
Bless you both. Y'all are beautiful souls, and you inspire me to be better and do better. And wow, I mean, it chokes me up to see what you all are doing, and how deep and profound you are, but the charity that it has given you toward others that you don't even know. And I know the Lord is pleased, and thank you. And thank you for sharing on the SavvyCast. And I can't wait to come to one of these book signings. And everyone that's watching or listening, please go to the show notes. Follow 2x2. I've got all the links to your social media, because that's a place to keep up with where you're going and so forth. So, ladies, thank you. And I just appreciate it. You always have a place on the SavvyCast. Let me know if you ever want to come back on.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jamie. Thank you.
Thank you, Jamie. We appreciate it.
Thanks, ladies. Hi, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the SavvyCast. If you'll take the time to rate, review, and subscribe on iTunes, that would mean so much. As always, thank you for listening, and have a blessed day.